Okay. Let's really see if we can get this. You want to step up and hit it as often as you can.
I think off this initiation, I think
Careful about all
vaulting
grouping
forward
up.
and
Hit this guy. Yeah, he's
Rain of
super good.
Vengeance
Oh, you
in
can
there
vault in and hit Q.
was
You
still
want
a
to
pretty
have it?
good idea
No.
because I think
Where do you
most of the
sit
time that
this
should
entire
lead to
fight?
about 2 or 3 instant kills. They both, like,
It's a little bit too
couple
far
of them
towards the
live
back.
with just like 300 health here,
Yeah, 'cause
and
you can
it's
step in.
pretty
I like
pretty
that. You're the
unfortunate.
one who focuses on this, but then just be up here. Like you can even threaten this gray main. He should.
See, with the way my tanks are positioned, they're never going to get an engage on Greymane. So chunking him, I think, is unnecessarily risky because it's likely that he can actually just engage on me and try and kill me before I can get peeled off of. And yeah, that felt too risky. So I actually really like that. I see my tank initiates here. They get 3 stuns. Unfortunately, they do have the armor up right now,
Should have to.
but I pretty much just immediately
Play back
vault
here.
in and
He's just getting.
are on top of them. And you can see they're stunned. I actually, you know, I staggered the CC even. So, and we have a Lucio ult going. So I think this engage is correct. I can vault forward here. We have Lucio ult.
Damage
I
on.
think this is pretty
You can
correct.
step up. You
I
can
think
be
I missed
here,
the ETC
basically,
with the stun,
hitting
unfortunately.
all of these targets.
But you see, they're stunned. I've put a Q on them. I'm going to W right now. ETC is going to push me away, which I believe interrupts the W. The W here might have killed Li Ming. But regardless, we just needed, like, tiny bit more damage on her. You know, if I had stunned the ETC, then he wouldn't interrupt me. Then we could probably immediately turn and kill him. I have 16, so I have Manticore, so I could then immediately be hitting the ETC, and we could probably kill him. If Diablo had walked forward off of this, he got rooted. But do we have an ability to cleanse? No, we don't. Lucio doesn't until 20. Cleanse a root. So that's not possible. But I was going to say he could maybe body block the ETC. You know, there's options here that, like, this should have at least led to a kill on the Li Ming, I'm pretty sure.
Free. These are your only targets. This is risky because what if he just slides in and ults? He doesn't have it, but you guys probably don't know that 100%. I know. It was used here, but the timing is kind of odd.
So I almost killed the Li Ming. The Blaze just misses the bunker shot. You know, the Q bounced onto the Uther, and yeah, I got knocked away. I think the W went out, but maybe I was just out of range at that point. I'm not sure exactly what happened. But anyway, I still think vaulting forward there was correct. I still think I make that play like 90% of games.
But you can definitely be
So
over
yeah, I'm
here.
just chunking the ETC. Now I get
Attacking
knocked
these two
away,
targets,
and I get
pressuring this
slowed.
way, and then just hitting the keep when you can.
This Lucio, in my opinion, like, didn't really play as well this game. It was kind of an off game for him as well. You know, I don't know how strong of a player he is or whatever. This is the first game I've played with him. I'm not trying to flame him or anything, but he definitely made several mistakes this game where, like, there I was slowed, and so I'm not sure whether he was on speed boost or not. I don't think he was, though, but that having speed boost there probably would have allowed me to get that ETC kill.
But not the worst thing. But I'm just saying that's a better angle for you. Okay, now out. See? Okay, that right there. That's how you have to play these fights. You see that?
So yeah, ETC flips out of the Rain of Vengeance. That's why I missed the stun there.
Much
And now he doesn't have flip for there.
better. Way better.
Whoops. Hopefully this is pretty close.
Much better. Way better.
There we go. Yeah.
So you can trade up on him. You can even.
So the reason I'm able to play this way now is I have my tank right here, right? He's positioned more to wall stun, right? That's like the reason I can position this way now, is my tank isn't down over here, he's up over here. So he's just on the opposite side of the fort. So that was generally, like, I'm positioning around my tanks more so than I am just around the map itself, because the tanks are what keep me alive for the most part, and my support,
I mean,
obviously,
just like
to
that.
a
Yeah, perfect.
certain extent.
As soon as it lands, boom, immediately E. Exactly. That's how you have to play that engagement. And then if he wants to go for the throat onto you, just ult him and walk away, or W. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I want to leave.
Yeah, this is just pretty not great. We should be as a team here. and then we could maybe get and re-engage if Blaze was with us. This would actually be pretty spicy. I don't know why she's up here even. I mean, this is just really messy at this point of my teammates kind of getting tilted, and
Yeah, this is
Oof,
messy.
you step up too far here already.
obviously pretty much every player on my team makes mistakes throughout the course of this game.
I mean, it's fine. Like,
And that's
if your
what leads
teammates
it
are
to-
caught like this, it's fine for you to play on the backside of the fight, but never
to
ever make
unravel.
it so that you die. So like already
Yep, I
you
stepped
stepped
up too forward.
way too far into this guy. You should be like back where Diablo is basically, and then you can walk in after the slide and you hit your Q, hit your W, hit your auto attacks. Just stay back here, play where you are. This is fine. You guys get the 1 kill. Play on to Grey Main now. Big stun. Yeah, exactly like this. You played that well. You missed the Q though. Really trying to line that Q.
I don't even think chasing for this throw
No,
was worth
no,
it.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You basically decided to turn around when it was a good time. Oh, there's. You die. Why? Does he not have slide up? Ah, right there.
So because it's gone relatively well for staying, I trick myself into thinking that I can stay longer than I can.
Should have been able to kill Leeming there. Probably actually could have killed both.
But now there's literally
So-
nothing for you guys to get.
Yeah, just staying
Yeah,
here is
I
bad.
realized that,
This is pretty
like,
obvious.
10 seconds too late.
I don't really have much to say here, actually.
Oh no, you're still up here. See, immediately as soon as you get those, yeah. So go take this camp. Go take this camp. I don't understand why ETC didn't just queue you guys and then mosh and then Leeming kill everybody. That's what I don't understand. But
So I should definitely be helping the camp at this point.
oh yeah, like they're spam pinging you. You've got the solo carry syndrome. What you doing? Yeah, this camp.
So this camp is
doesn't matter.
so risky. We waited out the death timers too long. This is
Well, and
all,
because I took
actually
too
pretty
long,
much
then
entirely my
this
fault.
leads
Is
to more
because
bad-
I wasted time. Yeah, then this camp takes longer to get cleared, and then they can engage on it,
Oh, I see.
and then we get caught, and our tank is trying to leave because we took too long,
Go back in.
and he
Oh,
knows
my
that it's
team-
time
yeah,
to
yeah.
leave,
Go back in
and then I
now,
go
you-
back in because I get baited by my team
It was
because
that
I'm
point
bad
he
and I don't
realized he
recognize when
made
to
a
leave.
mistake. Q auto. Oh, he doesn't even have it, but he just beats your face in.
So, yep.
Yeah, as soon as that skirmish ends, just go grab camps. Set up for the next objective. Again, your job is to kill the immortal. That's it.
It's kind of funny that the one time I chose to kill the immortal was the time that I shouldn't have been killing the immortal.
It is funny. All right, this is a tragedy, folks. Did you just see that?
I mean, I recognize that he missed a kill here. I play Lucio a lot. But, yeah, he kind of focuses on this for a little
Just hit A.
more than I
Just
think
hit it
he
one
maybe
time,
should have.
just the A key on
It's
your
pretty
keyboard,
pretty obvious that he just misplayed this.
and he dies.
Should have killed him like
in
2 or
second.
3 different ways.
Just
And he
need to
doesn't.
hit A. That's it.
So yeah, I wasn't sure whether I should
actually
have actually responded to
tragedy.
the question of did you see that, but I just chose not to.
Freaking
'Cause
ugh.
I was just kind of focused on my own play at this point. This is where Kala
Really
starts
trying to get
focusing on my
Fade out of
teammates a
there.
bit more,
Go boop them.
partly because I'm dead, so they're the only thing to focus on at this point.
Please
And
use your
yeah,
Q key
as
onto
a
the enemy
Lucio player,
heroes.
this is I was kind of frustrated
this
by
is
this
painful.
Lucio player not using his abilities very.
You can
very
even
often or
boop
very
the
well.
mosh pit. Doesn't have to though, because this APOC is god tier.
And I think he
Lucio
made
straight
some
doesn't use Q,
questionable
but-
decisions on
Okay,
positioning.
You're on your way back. This is a good fight. Why are you here? Everyone fight over here. This is a really good fight. Nice, Diablo with the god disengage. Okay, so where are you going? You're going to race.
Correct.
I kind of disagree with Kala that that's a good fight there without Cassia up. I think if it was an actual 5v4 that would have been good, but
And I'm just trying to be like super safe here.
4v4 seems
We just have to defend.
sketchy.
That's it. Everyone defend.
I was
So
talking
everyone
about my
should defend
pathing here being
anyways.
safe,
Um,
going
obviously they were all there.
really
but they're
long way
showing on
around,
top, and, you
so
guys
that I
should've
don't get
fought
caught.
on this would have been a huge fight. Even if Diablo like dies here, I guess you don't have. Do you not have?
Does he
Cassia?
have his
No, you don't.
passive up?
I
That's
don't
probably important.
know. No. This is literally 0 souls. Feels wretched, but I mean, yeah, no, that's good that you guys didn't. You could have thrown there.
Yeah.
But this is the best place to fight given the context. Holy V Sierra. This now we need to defend. Cassie's coming back too. Chicken Nug. Wait, what is Chicken Nug doing up here? Sorry, I'm looking at all of our team now. This is getting interesting. I need to see what thought process leads the young Nug to come top. Dang. Still a fight that you guys should take defense-wise, because this is gonna do some great stuff.
So this is almost a great
Close.
fight,
Going after Houdini.
but
Oof.
it's pretty sad.
They're gonna take some core damage. Ooh, they can end off this though. Wait, they do end off this. No. Or you guys wipe them and then end. One of two things, but
No spoilers.
okay. Okay, what do we got here? 16 seconds. To me, Cassia steps up to try to defend on this fort and dies.
So we pretty
She's
much had an
slowed.
experience
She's stepping
advantage
to the
up
fort.
until
Wait, they could have just ran her down.
the past minute or
Come
two.
on.
And so
Enemy team 20 off the
I think if
wall.
I had been able to hit 20 this game and get Farflight Quiver, I could have won the game. Because at that
Okay,
point I
how
can
does this
output
actually happen?
so
Enemy team
much
gets wall.
damage from so safe that I can
So at this point, I've given up the keep, right? I just
can
want to keep the
probably
core
win the
alive.
game
Mhm.
if I'm 20. So
Which makes sense.
And as many of my teammates as possible.
here's part of the
Your
problem.
team
part of
mates just
my-
fight past, don't they? I had this.
Part of my lack of game sense knowledge is I don't exactly know what people's, especially level 20 upgrades do, because I don't see them very often. Not a lot of games actually go to 20 for some reason. A lot of my games are really stompy. I'm not sure why that is necessarily. It depends on the map, of course, but like ETC, for example, he talks about some stuff here of like tour bus or like death mosh and things like that, and it's like I don't know exactly what all those mean or what they all mean necessarily for me, but it turns out it means ETC can mosh you like 5 different ways at level 20, and so you're probably going to get moshed, and if you get moshed, you're probably going to lose. So yeah, at this point the game was pretty much over because I get moshed, and I don't know how to avoid this mosh necessarily, or that I should be
Okay,
avoiding
there's so
like
many
a
things.
ridiculous
He
tour
can-
bus
he can
mosh thing.
Blink mosh. He can tour bus mosh. There could be a big sunder into a blink slide. There's some awful things. Chicken Nug is stepping up real far, folks.
So I'm just trying to
Okay,
poke
we play
Qs
actually
onto
quite
the Immortal
defensive, but
so
dude,
that
this thing
hopefully
has
they
some
don't end
HP.
and the Immortal dies and we can get
Go to
20.
throw low.
And then
We got death metal coming in.
once I have
It's more
Farflight
fear
Quiver,
for
then
you.
I know I can position
Move
like
in,
far
look
enough
for you,
back that I
good.
shouldn't really die to anything.
This is it.
But
Got it, by the way. Oh, yeah. They're gonna get death mosh. Why did he use his W? That would have been a huge death mosh. He doesn't even get it off.
yep, they do too much core damage. And we lose.
Okay, so your biggest problems were not paying enough attention to your team and thinking that you have to catch all the sides. So the biggest part of this game actually was thrown when you did this. Because you guys would have had like 100% shield and more. Oh, it would have been like 80 because I think they had it at about 80. Or something like that, 85%. But it gave you a perfect opportunity to race and you didn't take it. And then there was like the other time too when your team walks up for the fight up top and you go to race instead. Should have looked for that fight. But obviously all the things that we talked about we went in quite detail with. Quite a bit of detail with. And then overstaying top instead of getting camps. You should always be, whenever you get a kill, what can you get off the map? And I feel like your mentality right now is just to continue pushing in a lane. But when you're Valla, you can pick up so many camps. Like you can look to pressure the map elsewhere. And the big thing is setting up the map for the next objective. The objective had been.
So this is like the biggest thing that I took away from this is getting an advantage should lead to camps, and the camps should lead to structures. and that's like an additional step in between, but it secures, like it makes it so much safer and so much more guaranteed than if you just try to go for the structures alone. And yeah, that was pretty important, I think, to learn that. And like it's something that you kind of know, but you don't necessarily understand, I guess. I don't know. I just found that helpful. Especially talking about the
Timed
bottom
out for
camp level
quite a
1. Like that
substantial
was the
period of
biggest thing
time
to
at
me
this
is
point. You guys get all these kills top. Easily
or
back up and
getting
grab
the kills
siege
top
camp.
and
So I
then
want
going
you
and
to do a
getting
better
that camp,
job of
which I
after
feel
you
like
get
I
a kill
probably
or
would have done if my team had
push out a
actually
wave. Let's say even just like a wave, and it crashes
left
onto the
when
keep
I
wall.
was
You
wanting
know
to
that
and
one
things
of
like
them
that,
has to
rather than
group
getting
there.
caught.
So can you get
So
your team to group up and grab a camp? Can you get your team to group up and get this camp? Just look at trying to snowball your advantage by doing things on the map instead of just like ramming into a lane or being really tunnel visioned on a lane. That's the biggest thing I noticed about you. Yeah, and then obviously you went bottom too to push out the minion wave when everyone was fighting in mid. Those were like the glaringly obvious mistakes that I noticed.
Makes sense.
Did you have any specific? Oh yeah, and then build. I would say never go tempered by discipline, like almost ever. And it should
Okay,
be.
I'll have to play around with it more, because when I went the Q heal talent, like, the fact that it's only on heroes made it feel really too restrictive, I think.
Fair enough. It's. I swear, if you go that talent and get used to it, it'll be the amount you heal for like 40% of your health when you get.
I feel like Kala is stuck in a. I put him in a hard situation here, where because I have played with the talent before and it didn't feel strong to me. I think part of that was a lot of the playstyle difference, and things like that. And so I put him in a tough situation here because he understands that I'm a good player. He understands that I've played with the talent before, and he understands that it's kind of a playstyle thing, and there is a reason why I'm not disliking it. But he is trying to make me pick the talent that's better, right? And so he's put in a tough situation of he doesn't really want to argue with me, but he's also sort of wanting to convince me at the same time. And so I wouldn't maybe call it an argument or whatever, but you know what I mean. You know, it's a debate. I don't know what you would call it exactly, but he's trying to convince me into taking the talent that he wants me to take, obviously. And I'm trying to I'm at the mentality of of explaining why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Like I'm trying to give him, this is my mentality as a player, so this is how you can correct this mentality, and this is how you can say this is the point of view that you're looking at this from, and here's why this other point of view is maybe better and things like that. Like so I'm trying to be helpful in trying to get him to change me, but at the same time I can understand how it's coming across as I'm saying I disagree with you and we're just going to get into an argument over it. And especially because he's only spoken with me for 40 minutes, right? That's kind of like a hard thing to judge. Um, and so I understand that I by this little exchange here that I kind of put him in a little bit of a tough position as a coach, and so I could tell he was a little bit frustrated here. But I got the message at least, even if he didn't really argue for it as maybe as strong as he wanted to. I could tell that he wanted to, and so I still kind of got the message. So that was pretty funny. I think I enjoyed that little exchange actually.
Get your double Q combo.
Right.
It's disgusting.
I guess most of the time, like, you'll need healing when fighting heroes, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
But
and it's burst healing, and that's Valla's biggest
right,
problem.
yeah,
She gets
that's
one
pretty
shot
important.
by people.
Yeah.
So like that Greymane interaction, for example, he auto Qs onto you, you Q him and vault away and Q him again, you're back up to full health and you just win the trade. And otherwise, you would have to make sure you have full stacks because you don't get the heal while at 10 stacks of hatred. Basic attacks heal for 25% of the damage dealt. So you need full hatred, which obviously
He didn't really talk about Frost Shot.
As Valla, but still, what if the team fight just
Frost Shot and Manticore at 16. I'm a pretty big proponent of Manticore, even in one tank teams. Mostly because it's the only talent at the tier that gives you additional damage, and you're a damage output character, hero. Frost Shot, I think, is actually best not in W build, but in Q build, because when you don't have the movement speed from the level 1 talent, you can't kite as well. Especially, you're taking Farflight Quiver at 20, like 100% of the time. It's by far the best option on that tier. I don't think you should really ever go auto attack build or Rancor because I think they just generally win more talents and they don't actually help you And they take too long to get value is also part of the problem, whereas you get immediate value from taking Q or W build. But anyway, when you're taking W build, you have the movement speed from the level 1 talent, and then you can kite pretty well just by stutter stepping and having the movement speed, and you don't actually need frost shot in order to kite. And the additional range on W, you're going to be getting the additional range in 4 levels when you hit level 20. So you only get the additional range from level 16, really, is when your additional range, quote unquote, is like enabled by taking frost shot. So you don't need it for the kiting, and you only get 4 levels worth of range upgrade from it. So I actually think it's not strongest in W build. I think it's strongest in Q build, because when you're taking Q build, which you should mostly be doing on this map, Battlefield of Eternity, you won't have the movement speed from the level 1 talent, and so then you can't kite as easily. So that's why I think you should then, I think taking frost shot when you're Q build makes more sense, because then it enables you to kite better. And then your Q has a pretty long range, and so then you have a pretty long engage range before you get Farfoot Clever that you're playing with most of the whole game, where you're kind of just like, you're doing really short engages of like Q, E sort of sideways or backwards, and Q again, and then you can like back off. You're not really playing around auto attacking as much. Manticore, I'm not sure was the pick here. I think it was fine. I wasn't really in a kiting sort of game. We were kind of in a big team fight sort of game. We had a lot of CC with the Diablo and Blaze comboing together so that I could get, and ETC moshing is a really good opportunity to get Manticores off. But again, Manticore is the only option at that tier that gives you damage. And so, especially when you take Farflight Quiver at 20, you can go, like, you can get ridiculous amount of Manticore procs off on people. Because you can just auto them from so far away that they can't really ever stop you from autoing them unless they just like completely back off. And then at that point, like, you just hit other things for free, and you get value that way. So yeah, but that's an important thing to note as a Valla player that he didn't really talk about.
You need that healing.
I think he asks here in a
Step one,
second
don't
what
play
build
Valla,
I go
play
on
Hanzo.
some
We
of the
talked
other
about
maps.
that
Well,
earlier.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, so with Hanzo and Phoenix banned, like, is there another character you think I should have played, or not
Greymane.
really?
They have Greymane.
Okay, I'll have to get more comfortable playing Greymane too.
Yeah, he's really good.
Similarly, for the Hanzo comparison, I've started picking up Lunara. That's been my pick that I've picked up more recently. So I'm kind of like Sylvanas, Valla, Phoenix, Lunara. Those are like my main 4 right now, and then I play some mages like Jaina and Nizibo sometimes, things like that. So those are my main heroes that I'm playing right now. The reason I haven't really played Greymane that much is sort of for the same reasons that I was mentioning Hanzo, is that his playstyle of being a hybrid melee ranged character, I feel like doesn't really fit. I feel like I'm much better playing ranged dedicated characters. Um, and I can play melee characters, but I don't know, I don't feel as good with them. Their positioning is, it's not necessarily harder, but it's just different, and I don't have the instincts for it. So I feel like I misposition a lot more on it. And especially, if I'm playing like a bruiser or something like that as a melee character, or someone with a lot of good escapes, like Zeratul, for example, I've played a little bit, um, because you can blink away and, things like that. So those are a bit more different, where you're very quick in and out and you're just doing like, a really quick burst combo or something. But more of like a sustained sort of hybrid melee character, I feel like I'm not as comfortable playing. So Greymane kind of doesn't really fit my personal, I think, strengths as a player as in terms of playstyle, for similar reasons as Hanzo. It just feels less fluid to play. It's sort of clunky, and I don't really like feel as comfortable playing it. So the Greymane suggestion here was a little bit weird. But yeah, Lunara has been one that I picked up that I think works well with my mechanics of stutter stepping pretty well, for this map and things like that, to pick in cases where Hanzo's banned.
Yeah, he's super good. But yeah, I think you're just gonna have a tough time playing Valla once you climb up, because people will just pick Genji and then kill you over and over. You can also, I love Valla, guys. Stop playing. Yeah, Valla. I love Valla too. It's just she does get shut down very easily. That's the only problem. But if you're able to navigate properly, you're able to dodge out some skill shots, and that's why I'm kind of telling you about this, because if you don't go tempered by discipline and if you do go tempered by discipline against a Genji, he's just going to kill you all game, over and over.
Right.
And if you play Valla on like Tomb of the Spider Queen, what build do you go?
Well, I would definitely go W build, but I
Okay.
probably wouldn't pick Valla on that map.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I mostly only pick Valla right now on Battlefield of Eternity for her immortal clearing racing capability. Because I think that's where her strength is pretty much as a hero right now. I think she's decent on Tomb of the Spider Queen. I would just most of the time pick Phoenix or some other hero better, but because I think he accomplishes pretty much. He's pretty much a better Valla. If you're not racing Immortals, Phoenix is generally just better Valla currently. And so that's who I would most likely play on Tomb. But yeah, before Phoenix released, I did play Valla fairly frequently on Tomb of the Spider Queen, especially when I was one-tricking her. And yeah, obviously W build is better. If you don't believe me, do math, because if you ever hit W on like more than one target, it beats out auto build, even if you're like freely auto attacking constantly. So yeah, W build definitely way stronger than auto attack build. Auto attack build is a trap. Don't go it. Okay, cool.
Sure that you're only picking this build on like a map like this. Just wondering, but awesome. Thank you very much
I
for
wonder-
submitting. Sorry.
What you would recommend for going on?
So the last few questions here are me asking about I can't remember the name of the map. Blackheart's Bay, that's the name of the map. I couldn't believe I almost forgot it again. And asking about shot calling and things like that. I think I used the word shot calling, and I think that made him a little bit misunderstood again. And this is, partly my fault. I'm the one who called it shot calling. I should have just said, like, I don't know, being vocal in voice chat, things like that. And I could have elaborated on this, but we were at the end of the time. It was late at this point. I wasn't sure whether he was going to cut stream. He ended up playing, I think, a few games after this, but or maybe not. I don't remember. But I could tell that he was a little bit burnt out at this point, almost. And like I said, I had picked up on a lot of things that he wasn't mentioning at this point, even. So I didn't really want to go into too much of the nitty gritty details. Nitty gritty details. Skipped over a word there, combined them. Is that because I played League didn't have voice chat ever. You only communicated through pings. So I communicate through pings, like especially because I don't have game sense, so I don't call out things, right? I don't make calls. So when I say that I need to improve at shot calling, what I'm saying is I need to be more vocal in speaking on voice chat and just making calls and things like that and communicating with my team in general. That was mainly what I was trying to focus on. He was more taking it as I used the term shot calling, and he took that to be more like shot calling of like, I don't know. Shot calling is obviously a good skill to have. I think it's invaluable, pretty much, as if you can handle doing everything else and shot calling on top of it, you will just be like probably like a full tier above like anybody else at your rank, just based on that alone. So it is super important. I don't really think ranged assassin players are the best people to be shot calling in general, because they're like the least able to initiate or know when an initiate is possible and capitalize on it. Like there's a lot of reasons for that, but so yeah, actually just pure shot calling of like that's generally still going to be left to the warrior player, or even sometimes the supports can do it pretty well as well. But yeah, so I didn't necessarily mean shot calling in that sense. I more meant just this is kind of going back into like the ladder anxiety. It's like he did mention this as just like you'll make the wrong calls and like you'll look dumb, but then you'll know not to make the wrong call next time or whatever, and you'll be able to recognize that it was the wrong call, But you just have to be able to be willing to be wrong, and that's pretty true. I mean, again, it's kind of the same, like I mentioned with the ladder anxiety of I didn't do anything to break it. I said it's just like ripping off a band-aid. You just have to do it at some point, and you'll make mistakes, and those happen, and you just move on. It's not the end of the world. You just doesn't mean anything. You just made a bad call. Whatever. It's a game. So yeah, that was it. Anyway, thank you, Kala, very much for the coaching. I got a lot out of it. I hope to do it again probably in a month or two. And yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of this as well to see my perspective of it. Maybe you learned a little bit of things. Maybe you got something out of it that I put more focus on that Kala couldn't, or that Kala didn't, and you got a double usefulness out of one coaching session. Who knows? Anyway, thank you very much for watching.